This is Lee Terrier from PW Mania alongside the one and only Zachary Wentz. How you doing, man? You okay?
I'm great, dude. How are you?
I'm really, really well, and it's great to see you back in Impact with your boy Trey Miguel. We talked to him probably about in the last, probably the start of the year, and he spoke about you guys possibly reuniting, and you've done so by jumping on Chris Sabin, reuniting the Rascalz. Why now? What is it for you now? Bring you back to Impact.
I just want to have the Rascalz name be in the limelight again, man. Well, that's the Rascalz is our baby, and it's near and dear to my heart. And for a long time, Rascalz was synonymous with tag team greatness, and we want to get it back to tag team greatness. Also, Trey Miguel's my best friend, like my absolute best friend, my brother. There's not a day that goes by where I don't talk to him in some aspect, FaceTime, texting, or whatever. So I just want to be back with my friend, do hood rat stuff with my friend.
I hear that, man. There's nothing better than being alongside your best friend and doing what you love. And I guess you've already done a lot in Impact. We've seen, a great body of work. But what are the ambitions this time upon returning?
Get the one championship that has eluded me. I want those Impact Tag Team Championships.
Oh.
I want those bad. We didn't get to get those last run. This run's going to be different. Rascalz are going to be on top. We're going to stay on top. That's just what it is.
Of course, man. And as I say, you've had this vast history in the company. Looking back on that first run, what are your best memories? What are your best matches that you had during that time?
Honestly, any match that we had with the Lucha Brothers, LAX, it seems like we were always attached at the hips. And then also the North as well. Anytime like that, the tag division at that time was absolutely insane. All of those matches that we had with them were always insane. And then even right before we left, being attached to Motor City Machine Guns and having those matches, and dude, it's just those. I loved those matches so much. And then also the tree houses, man. They brought something different to the world of professional wrestling, and I just love them.
I can imagine. And then when can we expect you to go for this gold?
Listen, if it was up to me, we would have the tag titles right now. So there's nothing too soon for the Rascalz. I don't know. I want to have a little word with management, tell them to put us in that four-way match, but I'm not management, so I can't say anything. But no matter what, just know that the Rascalz are going to make an impact on Slammiversary.
All right, so we can expect to see you, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And you talk about management, and everyone that I speak to at Impact, they talk, the roster, they talk about the team behind the scenes and the rapport between you all. There's a really good rapport backstage, is what everybody says. Who in the company do you enjoy working with, in front of the camera and behind the camera? Who do you love learning from?
I mean, obviously, like everyone's pretty great. Alex Shelley is phenomenal because he still teaches. You don't have to do that, but he still teaches. He takes time out of his day to make sure that, if you want knowledge, he is going to give you knowledge. And then even like, I know business is business and we gotta mess these guys up if we want their titles, but ABC, I came up with Ace Austin. We lived together for a little bit of time, and then Chris Bay, I consider one of my friends, one of my homies, and it just felt like, I don't know, coming back, it just felt right again, almost like a family reunion,
Yeah, of course. And people like Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, do you find them really, really helpful people along the way?
I was just about to say Tommy Dreamer. I was just about to say Dreamer because Dreamer's always helped me. He's always looked out for me, and even still, like giving me advice, telling me how I can present myself even bigger than it is. And Dreamer's just, his mind for professional wrestling is bar none one of the best minds out there.
Amazing. Yeah, and I guess they're not like, you've done so much already. You've been to a lot of places. You've won gold. Like, what do you learn on a daily, on a weekly, monthly basis? What do you learn when you're at, I would say, at the peak of your powers? How are you still learning?
You just gotta find stuff. You know what I mean? Like, especially with like TV wrestling, there's certain, you got to figure out how certain people shoot certain ways and stuff like that. And especially with this new edgier side of the Rascalz, I've pretty much been like the happy-go-lucky guy this whole time. Now I'm trying to figure out how to present myself in more of an aggressive role. So, there's always like, if you feel like you know everything in professional wrestling, you don't. You don't. If you're not constantly learning, evolving, and figuring stuff out, then you're not at your full potential.
Yeah, I can understand that. You never stop learning, right? The minute you stop learning, that's it. You're finished in many ways. But I guess that's a difference then from from the independents going into television and pay-per-view. Is there a real difference between the way you craft your matches and the way that you set out your game plans in terms of time, in terms of ability, in terms of how you're going to show yourself to an audience? Do you see a real difference between that in front of just a live crowd to, let's say, a TV audience?
Oh, absolutely. Because, live crowd, you're playing to what's in that building at the time, and for a TV show, you have to make sure that you present yourself in a way that everyone watching at home can see what, excuse me, everyone at home can see what the live crowd is seeing. So there's, you got to do stuff a certain way to make sure that this camera gets that angle, and just so you look like a superstar,
Yeah, of course. And do you find that there's a pressure then when you are on TV? Everybody's got their 5, 10, 15 minute moments to really show a global audience of what you can do. How do you find it, trying to find your sweet spot in a show of 2 hours, maybe three if it's a pay-per-view, of showing you off in the best light and obviously working around a great roster of different ability and talent?
Well, you just have to like know who you are, and you have to know what your position is and what you should be doing. If you start worrying about what everybody else is doing, you as individual is going to get lost. And I feel like I've always done that fairly well when it comes to television. Is like, we've always known who the Rascalz are. I've always known who Zachary Wentz is, and it shows in my work.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best thing. If you're showing who you are, we see it, and it's great to see. And obviously, we saw you in NXT for a time where you were tag team champions with Wesley and MSK. You guys put on a series of great matches there. You worked with a set of amazing names. Like, who would you say have been some of the people you loved working with alongside Wesley and creating some magic for a global audience?
GYV, absolutely, bar none. GYV's my favorite tag team. Like, they are the lads. They're the boys. They're absolutely incredible. Or what are they called now? The dyad.
The
But
Diad,
yeah,
yeah.
the dad. Those guys are top notch. They, like, literally one of the best tag teams ever.
Wow.
And those guys, dude, ever. Those guys is minds for everything. I know I say that a lot, but just how they put together tag team wrestling is truly an art form, and I learned so much from them. And so those guys. Also, Legato, Del Fantasma, those guys, beautiful.
Yeah, I can imagine. And there's been obviously talk about grizzled young veterans. We know them. I've seen them so many times in the UK. They made their name here. They went obviously on to NXT. There's been talk for a while that when their contracts expire, they're looking to go elsewhere. Would that be something that you think Impact would be a very rich place if they had them involved with them in there?
Man, if Impact can get them, if they decide to leave and Impact can get them, please get them. Please, 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 please. I want to be in the ring with them again. Because, you know, like it is a new dynamic of the Rascalz. You know, myself and Wes or Des, whatever you would call them, we wrestled them. Now I want to wrestle them with Trey because, yes, we are the Rascalz, but there are still small components of who we are as this combination that could match with them in a different light and make more magic.
Yeah. That, as I say, I think that could be something that could be a long-term amazing tag feud. And obviously, you know, you guys as the Rascalz, you're doing bits everywhere. Wesley's still at NXT. Have you continued to watch the show and support him?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're this. It's a brotherhood, man. Like, we're not just people on TV. You know, that's one of my brothers. I still talk to him all the time as well. You know, I never stopped watching, and I have a bunch of my friends there, my girlfriend's there. You know, of course, I always support.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess then we talk about wrestling at the moment. You know, you've got friends in different places. You're with your best friend now. It looks like you're gonna go on a massive run, and I hope it works out the best. But it seems like it's in a real new boom period. We're from, you know, myself's from London. We just had Money in the Bank, which was huge. We've had countless Impact tours. Can't wait to have you guys back over. There's talk of AEW coming over, and obviously the big sell for All In. But all of you guys and all these companies are doing great things. So definitely a boom period. How do you think Impact sits within that, and how far do you think this company can grow? Because weekly, you're putting on an amazing show, and the pay-per-views are hitting it out the park all the time. So how far do you think you can grow now, Impact Wrestling?
Dude, the sky's the limit. Like, with Impact Wrestling, there's the talent, and just everyone involved is hungry, you know. And I think we could do all of that stuff, man. I really, 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 really believe that. I don't know, man. They just did a tour of Australia and had a very successful tour. If you watch social media, they trend every single week now. Last week was one of the biggest episodes, and I just feel like, especially with the additions of like some of these people, you know, you had Nick Aldis coming in for the World Heavyweight, you have Leo Rush coming in, you had Trinity come in, and it's just growing. It's continuously growing, and I'm so happy to be a part of this growth, and I can't wait to see what happens.
I bet. And how do you think it differs? Like you say, the show trends every week. It really, you know, all the time, the storylines, the feuds, the matches, it all works perfectly. It builds wonderfully to a pay-per-view every month. How do you think it differs to some of the other products that are across, you know, first, you know, the US, but also worldwide? How do you think Impact differs, or does it differ to what you see on maybe WWE TV, AEW? How do you think you stand out?
I think the biggest difference with Impact is they have a good mesh of styles of, you know, there's that TV WWE style where you get the characters and you get all of that. And then there's also like how AEW's, their in-ring's very fast paced and boom, 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 go, go, go. You still like get blood and stuff like that. And I think Impact is a good combination of those two styles. You know, it's the best of both worlds. So, man, yeah.
Yeah, I think that does sum it up pretty well. As you say, you've got everything that you want, and it encapsulated within that 2 hours. And I think now that you're back and I've got you here, I've always got to ask that last question. Anyone in the world, we talked about, you know, grizzled young veterans, Adaya, but anyone in the world, singles and tag, who would your dream matches be right now in 2023?
Tag, I want the Hardys.
Right.
Absolutely. That's just been one that I've wanted my whole life, because that's the team that I grew up loving. Like, that was it for me. And then singles wise, man, that's a hard one. That is a hard one. I've never had a singles match with Ospreay. I'd like one with him. I've never had a singles match with Leo. I would like one with him. I would really, really, really like to work Seth Rollins in a singles match, just because I was always a huge fan of him, and his style is just phenomenal. He's phenomenal. So yeah, man.
Oh
I
man.
don't know. I could keep naming off names, but we ain't got time for all
No, we haven't
that.
got time. And I thank you very much for your time, Zachary. I wish you all the best. Great to have you back. It's great to see you with your best mate. And long may your career flourish, man. Thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate it.